Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Becca and today I have the Finally Fall book tag. So I was tagged to do this from the lovely Jade from JD Ray Reads, and I believe that the original tag is by Tall Tales. I will link both of their videos down below for you guys to check out. So obviously this book tag centers around fall or autumn as we call it in the UK, and I thought I was a little bit late to do this with it being like is it the first week in November? However, I googled when fall ends and it actually ends 3 days before Christmas, which is insane. I thought it ended in November. So I guess I have plenty of time left to do this tag, so we're just gonna get into it. Number 1. In fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. So for this, I have gone with The Beast Player. This is a translated Japanese young adult fantasy, and it centers on a girl whose mother is the tamer and keeper of some giant warrior snake. However, the warrior snakes die and the girl's mother is blamed for it, and so she sends the girl away so that the girl doesn't suffer the same fate as her mother does. This book is set in Japan and it has a beautiful picturesque setting. I had this feeling like in my head with the way that the story is told. It played out in my mind very much like a Studio Ghibli movie, and I felt that I could just imagine everything that was happening, and it was just this like beautiful, patient Japanese type story that I was already familiar with from other types of Japanese fiction that I'd consumed. Number 2. Nature is beautiful but dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like grief or loss. So for this, I've gone for Strange Dreamer by Laini Taylor. As you all know, Laini Taylor has a notoriously beautiful flowery writing style. It's so whimsical and magical and really padded out. However, this book deals with slavery and oppression and also rape, but in this beautifully told story that doesn't detract away from the seriousness of the topics, but forms this really interesting juxtaposition between the beautiful nature of the writing and the ugly nature of what is actually going on. Number 3 is Back to School Season. Share a non-fiction book that taught you something new. And I've only read a couple of non-fiction books this year, but one was From Here to Eternity, Traveling the World to Find the Good Death, I think it's called, by Caitlin Doughty. I got this out from the library, and this is by the YouTuber Ask a Mortician, who is a mortician and she makes YouTube videos on all sorts of different topics surrounding death. But this book in particular tells the story of the places that she's traveled to in order to learn about different cultures' death practices. I found it very interesting. It focused on some quite well-known ones like the Day of the Dead in Mexico, but also some quite strange ones from places like Indonesia, where they dig up the dead every so often and change their clothes and wash them and things like that. So that was interesting, and I found out some new stuff. Some of it I really didn't need to know, but it's nice to know what else is happening in the world. Number 4. In order to keep warm, it's important to spend time with people that you love. Name a fictional family, household, friend group that you'd like to be a part of. Now, I believe when I did this tag last year, I probably said the inner circle because that's always my answer. So this time I've gone with the similar themes, but I want to be part of the 13 from Throne of Glass. Last year I was quite into Akamath because that's the series that I was currently rereading by Sarah J. Maas, but this year I'm rereading Throne of Glass, and my love for Manon has multiplied. I absolutely love her. I love the 13, which, if you haven't read these books, they are a coven of evil witches that have iron teeth, but they're awesome and you'll love them if you're not familiar with them already. So yeah, I'd love to be one of Manon's 13. Number 5, the colourful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall coloured spines. So these colours are on point, but they're all different sizes. But I have The Girl with All the Gifts, The Sin Eater's Daughter, no, The Scarecrow Queen, Laini Taylor's Muse of Nightmares, and The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torr, which are pretty aesthetic. Number 6. Fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book in which somebody is telling a story. For this, I've gone with Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. As you guys probably know if you've been watching my channel for a while, this follows these two people who have a baby, but the problem is that they're from warring planets, and the governments of their planets don't want the populace to know that you don't have to hate each other, like it's quite normal to like each other. And so these guys are hunted down by mercenaries. But the interesting thing about this is that the entire story is told from the perspective of the baby from the future looking back on her life, so it's like her life story. So there's a book about somebody telling a story. 7. The Nights Are Getting Darker. Share a dark and creepy read. So the most recent one that I've read is Night Film by Marisha Pessl, and this follows a journalist who is trying to uncover the secrets of an elusive director called Francis Cordova, who is well known for making cult horror films, but nobody really knows anything about him. Going into this, I thought it would be a standard thriller, but it does have some very dark and very creepy aspects that I wasn't expecting, but definitely appreciated as I just finished this in October. 8. The Days Are Getting Colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. I don't read short books and I don't read heartwarming books, but a series that I would recommend where the first few books are relatively short is the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. The first book being Cinder. It's only 300 and something pages, and what I remember about this series is that it's very fun, and I was emotionally attached to it, and not all happy things happen, but it's not super dense and super dark, and it's generally quite uplifting and really fun. If you don't know, these are fairy tale retellings set in a sci-fi, and the first book, Cinder, is about a cyborg who lives in New Beijing, which is like the futuristic China, and the world is soon to be at war with the moon. Number 9. Fall returns every year. Name an old favourite you'd like to return to soon. Now, my friend Leah from Leah and 26 Letters is currently reading this book, and it's made me really want to get into the world. One of the reasons is I plan to reread it sometime soon, but the book, like the 4th book in the series, has been delayed. And that is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. This follows clairvoyance in like a modern London that's very reminiscent of George Orwell's 1984. It is a sci-fi, and the world is very dense, and it takes a while to get into because of the world building. But just listening to Leah talk about it made me really want to revisit this world, because it has a lot of twists and turns, and it's really suspenseful when you're into it, and it's just been a while, and because so much goes on, the details are hazy, and I just really want a refresh. Number 10. Fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favourite cozy reading accessories. Now, I do have the standard ones. I have my Akamat blanket, which I'm sure you've seen before, and I also love to light candles. However, one that I don't think I've shared, which I got out for the first time this year, last night, I'll just grab for you. It's a real fashion statement, guys. So this is my reading poncho, and I'm gonna put it on for you so you can see how damn fashionable it is. But essentially, oh no, not my buttons. Essentially, it's a poncho, and it's made out of like a fleecy blanket material. Don't I look beautiful? Because I'm like reading under a blanket, my shoulders can't be under the blanket because I have to hold my book. So if I have a reading poncho, then only one hand needs to be out and everything else can be all blankety and snug. So this is like one of my favourite reading accessories, but it only comes out in winter for obvious reasons because it's very cozy. And finally, question 11 is just to tag some people, which I'm not going to do because I've seen this tag going around like mainly throughout October. So most people will have already done it, and also some people that I subscribe to and are my friends are Australian, where it's spring. So I'm not going to tag anybody this time, but if you guys want to do it, then feel free. You still have 2 months left of fall according to Google. But that is everything for this video. Please don't forget to like if you liked it and subscribe if you want to. If you head into my description box, you'll find a link to my Goodreads, Instagram and Twitter if you'd like to follow me on any of those, as well as a link to my Bookish Body Butter and Candle website, the Instagram for that, and a 10% off discount code. But that's it from me today. Bye!
Oh, you bite your friend like chocolate. You say you will go where nobody knows, with guns hidden under our petticoats. We're never gonna quit it, no, we're never gonna quit it, no.